Hey, welcome. It's October 15th, 2019. My name is Joe Weston, and here we are for our online weekly global meditation for lasting peace. It's a pleasure and an honor for those of you who come on a regular basis, and it's always nice to see new faces. And what we've been doing for now quite some time, for over a year, maybe more, a year and a half now, is cultivating a group, a community of meditators and practitioners from around the world who hold a similar value and vision that for equity and equality and justice for all, in a sense, and a world where people can really take more responsibility for their own personal contribution or way that they are in the world, and to offer support to those in need, and to consider this idea of what is lasting peace as opposed to peace, which means a lot more day-to-day, moment-to-moment practice of navigating our own reactivity, of noticing when we create labeling and othering, and when we actually shift that into bridging. And in a sense, how we are more mindful of what we're doing moment to moment, and then taking action in that. So that is what the practice is. That's what we're here to do. And we're using this fascinating medium called the World Wide Web to do that, to in a very 21st century way, create community, create circle, in a sense, meditation circle, which is a tradition and is a way of being that that has resonated with all human beings for tens of thousands of years. And we just continue that in this new global way, and practice resilience and what we call fierce compassion. And I just want to bring up this idea of, I've been thinking a lot more about this as I'm working on my new book, and we're talking with others about this, and this idea of what will it take for each one of us to get more activated, to be of support in a more efficient way, and a more impactful way on what's unfolding on the planet. And I'm speaking to people who I think share similar views and a similar mission. If you don't, then just relax and wait for the meditation to come. But this idea of what does it take for each one of us every day to challenge ourselves, to see what can we do just that little bit more, what needs to shift and change within ourselves to step into what we have been desiring stepping into for quite a long time as individuals and as a community. And that doesn't have to be a responsibility thing in the sense of pressure. It doesn't have to be pressure. There's no shoulds in that. You don't have to do anything. But I think it's just coming more from to tapping in when you slow down and listen to your heart. What's your heart's desire? And how much are you engaging with what is unfolding in the world, and how much are you in relationship with that, which is what this meditation helps us to cultivate. And what is that sparking in you? Is it sparking apathy? Is it sparking cynicism? Is it sparking paralysis and fear? If that's the case, what can you do to get more resilient and shift out of that, if that's a desire? Or is it sparking you with a desire to want to be more impactful and to be of more support, and to find ways to this idea of what I call creative social activism, that we don't have to go out and do protests unless we want to, and unless that's our way of doing things. We don't have to run for office unless we want to. We don't have to do the big things that we think that's the only way change happens. We just can consider that there are very small things we can do, and trust that those small things have an impact. It's really, we can get very cynical in that, as like, for instance, one thing that I always suggest that people do is, when you're in a public restroom or in your own restroom, or if you're whatever, just notice if water is running. Oftentimes people aren't thinking about that, and they leave the faucet running, or there might be a problem with the plumbing that the management of the restaurant or whatever doesn't know about, and there's water running. What are you doing about that? So I try to do that in a restroom. I always check all the faucets and turn them off, make sure they're fully off. That may sound like a little thing, literally a drop. Notice the pun there. Water drop dripping, fun, a drop. It might be a little bit of a drop in the ocean, but it's a drop in the ocean. And if there are 7.5 billion of us, and if more of us, if 7.5 billion people took on just that little responsibility, it would be a very different world. So I just want to offer that, just to be thinking about. You know, I oftentimes say in my trainings when we're with participants that if you want your life to change, you have to start changing something. And it's an idea that I don't know how productive it is to say I want my life to change and I'm waiting to see what changes. That seems kind of scary to me, and a little bit of a control freak that I am. I'd like to have a little bit more agency about what's changing in my life than to just be uh, uh, passive in seeing what changes around me. And it doesn't mean that if you have a clear goal and you want that to be what changes, that doesn't mean you have to, it's not an instant thing, I'm going to change that. But if you don't come out of your old patterning, if you don't come out of your own patterning and how in your viewpoints and in your habits and how you speak and how you talk to others, then and start noticing that and shifting that, then there isn't going to be a shift. At least I don't think, unless it's imposed from outside, and that may not be the shift or the change you want to have happen. So I just bring that up. I'm speaking to people who already know this, but I guess I'm just bringing more awareness to it. So the idea of creative social activism is to be creative. What's the small things you can do? I always use an example, and I have permission to use it, from a client who wanted to do something more, but didn't feel that she was powerful enough to do anything, and wasn't really the type to go into politics or be a leader in that way. And what we came to is that she discovered one thing she's really good at and loves doing is needlepoint. And she came up with the brilliant idea to call a local senior citizens home and ask, can I come in once a month and just sit with the people there and just needlepoint with them or teach them how to needlepoint? And they said, yes, of course. And she started doing that. And she found that it wasn't about the needlepoint. It was about these people had a chance to talk to someone that's not from there, that was listening to their stories, and it brought them joy. So that very little thing, what skills do you have? How can you be creative in having that impact? And in the end, it's about having an impact, but in the end, it's all more about the idea of how are you using your time? And these are ways of just using your time well. And so that's what I want to just suggest. I'm in the process of developing this book. I say that's a very simple. How do you want to be in the world? And one of the suggestions I give is that there are four basic, simple things that you see in many traditions of how you can be in the world and know you're living in a productive life, a peaceful life, where you're not creating harm, where you're minimizing your amount of harm to yourself and others. And it's really simple. I would say it's simple. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy, but it's simple. And that's four things. Be kind, clean up your mess, take care of others, and I would include yourself in that, and investigate the true nature of reality. What does that mean to you? That's it. That's just a way of being in the world, and that can keep you busy for decades if you really think about it. And you get to decide the scope of what that means. So I just want to offer that something just in terms of just, I guess the message or the energy I'd like to bring into this is how can you be more creative and playful with this idea of how to have more impact in the world with yourself, with those close to you, and with others. And perhaps that creativity and playfulness might inspire you to create the new habits and find ways of stepping into that. So with that, I would like us all to begin the process of doing this meditation. Uh, uh, for those of you who may be new, this meditation is based on a practice that I've cultivated in the methodology that I've developed called respectful confrontation. If you'd like to know more about that, check out respectfulconfrontation.com. And this is the core practice in the respectful confrontation methodology. And I would say it helps you establish a sense of core within yourself, um, and get more of a sense of grounding and focus and deeper listening and presence. And the way I've shifted this into a meditation for lasting peace, you'll see it helps us build, as you practice it on a regular basis, you're going to begin to see a rewiring of your nervous system, of the neural pathways that create new habits in your thought patterns and in your speech and in your actions. Um, Shifting into someone who feels that they really feel within their body that they're more resilient, that they can take on challenges in a more effective way. They can more effective decision making, more present, feeling safer and more confident, and at the same time increasing the capacity of holding more and more beings in your heart without that overwhelming you, um, uh, and actually inspiring you, and feeling more connected to what's unfolding as things are unfolding. So that's kind of the purpose of what we're cultivating. And we do this in community with one another, as a way of deepening that and, in a sense, weaving that sense of the possibility and the vision for lasting peace on this planet throughout the whole planet. So, in this meditation, we are focusing on the core, which is in your lower belly. And in one way you can say it's the width of 3 fingers below your navel, a third of the way into the body. So to investigate that, if you put your fingers together, you place your index finger over your navel, and where your pinky resides, that's approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel. So bringing your attention to that spot, the width of 3 fingers below your navel, bringing your focus now from that point inside of your body, about a third of the way. So you're focusing now on a spot that's somewhere in your lower belly, that's approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel and 1/3 of the way inside of your body, starting from the front of your body. Bring your full attention to that spot. Take a couple of nice deep breaths into your center, your core. Remembering that there's no right way to do this. There's no wrong way to do this. It's about finding your way. Feeling the points of your body that are connecting with whatever you're sitting on, so, a chair or the ground or a cushion. Feeling all the points, the surfaces of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on, from your feet to your lower body. Using those as your contact points of where you and an anchor point for connecting with your surroundings in this moment. And from those points, yielding and letting yourself drop in, letting yourself be held, allowing gravity to bring you closer to the ground. And as you sit in a posture where you're feeling your spine is elongated, space in your spine, you're not holding, your belly is relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, your jaw is relaxed. Easy breath. From your center, become aware of your physical body. Just listening. Let your body speak to you. From your center, become aware of your emotions, your emotional body. And for those of you who have been doing this for a while, to really, really continue to feel the subtle difference between thinking about this or feeling this and being aware of this, cultivating that deeper level of your relationship with awareness. How do I, from my core, my personal power, how am I aware of my feelings and emotions? And from your center, become aware of your thoughts. Maintaining a connection with your core, with your center, your personal power. Now bringing awareness to your heart, or the middle of your chest, where your heart power resides. Compassion, understanding, respect. And from your center and from your heart, ask yourself the question, how connected do I feel at this moment to something larger than myself? And again, not focusing much or not focusing too much only on the what that is that's larger than yourself, focusing more on being able to do inventory and evaluating at this moment for how connected from your heart and your personal power do you feel at this moment? Are you aware of the connection with that which is larger than yourself? Now, with more of an awareness of yourself in this present moment, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, take a full deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. With more of an awareness of yourself in this present moment, building on your connection and relationship with this present moment, more of awareness of yourself now from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of your surroundings, keeping your eyes closed, and using all of your other senses and the deeper listening to cultivate deeper relationship with your surroundings from your center and from your heart. Allowing energy to flow through you, and emotions to flow through you, cultivating a deeper level of balance and flow. With more of an awareness of yourself and your surroundings in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. And with more of an awareness of yourself and your surroundings in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, now opening and becoming more aware of your connection with those in this meditation circle. simply opening from your heart and from your center, deeper awareness of those in this meditation circle. Various parts of the United States and the Netherlands, perhaps other parts of the world as well. How might I be impacting those in this circle? And how might they be impacting me? Now, with more of an awareness of yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. And maintaining your connection and awareness of yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle. Now bringing our attention and awareness from our center and from our heart to all human beings, first starting with those that you would label as loved ones. What are you noticing at this moment that of your capacity from your center, your personal power and your heart to become more aware of those anywhere in the world that you would call loved ones and your connection with them at this moment? Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And from your center and from your heart, opening your awareness, becoming more aware of those that you would label strangers, anywhere on the planet or everywhere on the planet. Connecting and becoming more aware of all beings, all human beings on this planet that you would label stranger. That could be your next door neighbor, could be someone on the other side of the planet. And finally, from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of those that you would label adversary. What is your capacity at this moment from your personal power and from your heart to open your awareness and connection with those that you would label adversary? It could be your neighbor, could be someone anywhere on the planet. Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And now, with more of an awareness of yourself, your surroundings, those in this meditation circle, and all human beings, regardless of how you label them as loved one, stranger, or adversary, from your center and from your heart, take a full deep breath in, into your heart, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And taking a moment to register this, do inventory, let your nervous system take in this experience, what you're experiencing right now, the efforts of this practice, remembering this as a way of being more resilient, and having the capacity to hold more beings in your heart. Maintaining this awareness that you've cultivated of expansion in your heart and your resilience as we now bring our focus back to, so taking the whole human family with us as we bring our focus back to those in this meditation circle. So from your center and from your heart, connecting with those in this meditation circle. Bring those in this meditation circle with you as you bring your focus back to from your center and from your heart, connecting with your surroundings. And finally, bringing all of that with you as you now bring your focus and attention from your center and your heart, opening your awareness to yourself. Let's take one final breath to close this practice. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and stretch your body, shake your body, releasing any tension you may have accumulated in that practice, helping energy to move through you. So we started with a motivation, which was a little talk I gave. We've done our practice. Now we take our time to check in. So if anybody wants to check in and just share what you experienced or any thoughts on what I spoke about or what might be coming up for you, you can say it in many words. You can say it in 1 or 2 words. You can type it if you don't feel like using the mic. Who would like to share?
I so appreciated this today, Joe. My morning started just fritzed out and in all the negative, crappy energy and shit going on, and all the stuff I got to do, and feel scattered and anxious. And so this is just, thank you. This is just such a gift to ground me back into both my heart and what's possible, and in community with others. So thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
This is Silas. I'll share. When we got to the part about loved ones, I naturally go to family, but for me that's tricky because my family of origin I don't have a relationship with anymore, and they were looming in the loved one section, but I think I was trying to push them out, but they were there, and so we got to the adversary part, and there was no one, like literally no, I could not think someone there. So I found that interesting. And I will say the last couple of meditations, I've kind of seen myself in the adversary circle or whatever that space is, and I wasn't there this week. So I don't know what all that means, but I welcome it, and I'm gonna sit with it.
Thank you. Sometimes you can meditate on what it means. You can also just see how it feels. So yeah, thank you. That's the purpose of this. That's one of the purposes, but I would say one of the purposes is to that rigid idea of labeling people as loved ones, enemy, and adversary, and stranger. It becomes more malleable. It becomes more not as rigid, and you start dancing with it and playing with it, and you see that it's mostly on your side why you perceive them that way. So it's just a fun, and that gives you the power back. Thanks.
This is Amelia. Hi. I really love this idea of creative social action, and I really appreciated the concentrating on the small actions, because I realized for me that can also be kind of the antidote to my paralysis, right? Which is the question of like, what does this moment need? What is the action I can do in this moment? That I needed that. So thank you.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
And the beauty in that is it can stay there, right? It can stay in the small deeds, but you might find that in a regular practice of the small deeds, you find that your scope of influence can increase, and then you might see in the long run that that you can have a larger impact. if you so choose, of course. But and usually that happens organically.
Mm.
Nice. Anyone else?
I imagine this is Tammy. I imagine someone's already written this book, but just in case they haven't, Joe, maybe your next book is A Regular Practice of Small Deeds.
A regular practice of small deeds. Okay, I'll put that on my list I'll put it on, let's just say I'll put it on my list, Tammy. How's that?
I'm there with you. I'm there.
Why don't you write it?
That's a thought.
That's a thought. That's a small task.
Yeah, we said small deeds, Joe. Small deeds.
Okay, just saying.
It's Pia. In that
Thank
same
you.
vein, I have some things I'm doing this week that I consider smallish things that I can slip into thinking of as just obligations that I have and execute, but it helps if I then reframe them as reminding myself these small things do matter and I'm choosing to do them, and that it shifts how it feels to think I'm doing this because I have to do it and I'm obligated or committed to realizing this matters. These small things have a bigger impact, and so I feel a little bit more motivated to do them. So thank you.
That's anything to help get motivated to do something. Let's support each other in that. Great. Okay, well, let's consider closing the practice. We started with our motivation, we did our practice, we did a check-in, and now we close with a dedication, as we always do, to just honor the uniqueness of what we're doing here. That people randomly come and do this, or from around the world. I would say that I call it a statistical miracle. That statistically, it's impossible that we would be on this call together, these people. And so let's honor that. And this idea of holding space for a world where there can be lasting peace, we generate a lot of wholesome, beneficial energy. And let's direct it. Let's direct it to places where it might be in need. So may this energy help each one of us with all the projects we're working on. May they manifest and thrive in a beautiful way with ease. I don't know if you have people in your life who could use some good energy in tough places. People around the world who could use it. Maybe put a little of that energy. I'd like to put a little bit of that energy into anyone in Syria at this moment. Certainly on the Syrian-Turkish border.
I'd like to dedicate some of the energy to elderly people, especially in our country, but anywhere really, but particularly elderly people who are alone, who are vulnerable, just that they be looked after in some way.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, a little bit of the energy for India, founder of the Feathered Pipe Foundation, who's in between worlds right now.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. And may all beings have enough fresh water to drink and food to eat. And may all governments govern from a place of wisdom as opposed to fear and greed. Let's take a final breath. And it's great to have you here. Once again, keep joining us next week. We're here, and tell friends. That's a small deed, is to talk to one person and see if you can get them to join us. Particularly in fun places on the planet, that it would be fun to just get some variety, more parts of the planet. And looking forward to seeing you next week. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.